To Extreme Prophetic. My name is Patricia King, and I'm glad that you've joined us for today's program. If you are a spirit-filled Christian who loves Jesus, you can raise the dead. Have you ever thought of that before? Well, stay tuned for the entire program and you'll find out. Welcome to Insights. Our subject today is raising the dead, and we have James Gall with us. And you know, James, I'm so passionate about this subject because in Matthew 10, verse 7, it says this, and this is Jesus was speaking. He says, "And as you go, preach, saying, the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Heal the sick, raise the dead, cleanse the lepers, cast out devils. Freely you have received and freely give." And so in Western Christianity, you know, we're all hip about this preaching the kingdom, and, you know, we're fine with that. We're fine with healing the sick for the most part. Cleansing the lepers, okay, if you can find one. Casting out some devils, okay, we're getting used to that. But where do you hear about raising the dead? And if we're going to do the full kingdom mandate, we have to do that. So I'm trying to just talk it up, get the word out there, get people thinking about it, because we need our faith elevated to move into this.
That's absolutely right. And what you start declaring is what you're going to come into next. So let's just start declaring it so that we'll come into it. So we declare this is season for raising of the dead.
The revival of the raising of the dead.
That's it. Come on.
Yeah. You know, we know that there's healing schools and there's deliverance schools. Wow. But guess what?
Awesome.
The schools for the raising of the dead is on its way. I want to do a number of programs on this because the more we can, you know, just ask the Lord about it. Let's look in His Word. What has He got to say? Let's dream.
That's great.
You know, I've been dreaming, you know, over the last number of months about this whole subject. Like, what would it look like? What would a revival of the raising of the dead look like? Would it be like, you know, people flying in their, you know, coffins of their loved ones into the revival center, you know, and seeing the power, the resurrection power of Jesus Christ, raising them up, you know? Oh, I'm so excited about it. I can hardly wait to see it. And of course, we've got testimonies. Yeah. Do you know that this summer I met a man who had just been raised from the dead?
Awesome.
He had been raised from the dead. It was in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
You mean this was in North America?
In North America. He was in Albuquerque, New Mexico. He had been in the armed forces, and he'd won a Purple Heart medal and everything. But he had shrapnel in his head, and it got infected and cancerous and stuff like that. Landed up dying, pronounced dead. He has a death certificate. Was put in a body bag. And people were praying for him, and he landed up being raised from the dead. He started moving around the body bag.
In a body bag?
In the body bag.
That's awesome.
Later on, he went to get his driver's license because he had moved from one area to another. He had to go and get his driver's license. And in their records, in their government records, he was deceased. He had expired according... They said, we can't give you this, because they thought he was maybe an imposter coming to use someone else's name. He said,
maybe
we can't give you this.
He was going to vote twice or something like that.
Yeah, you're deceased. He's raised from the dead, serving God with all of his heart. Really? He's just amazing.
And he lives in New Mexico?
He lives in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Awesome. I know his pastors very well.
That's great.
I met his girlfriend.
So this is authenticated.
This is authenticated.
It's happened recently, and it's in North America.
It's in North America.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's really exciting.
That's
I was talking to Bill Johnson not long ago, too, and he was telling us about two babies who were raised from the dead in the womb. The doctors had pronounced them dead, and now they're living.
I know of a situation like that where a husband and a wife, and they couldn't have kids, and she was barren, but they have a miraculous conception, but around the 7th month the baby died in the womb. This is all authenticated and everything, and then they wouldn't stop because God gave them the promise. And I know that this gets controversial and edgy and all that stuff, but they prayed, they took counsel and everything, and the baby was inside for 11 months actually in the womb, and then it got raised from the dead in the mother's womb, and the child is alive, healthy, and serving God today.
I love that.
Absolutely.
See, I believe that. You know, we've got to start believing what God can do.
That's right.
And I know, like, I know some people that have believed for people to be raised from the dead, and then they weren't, but at least they believed, right?
Absolutely.
You know?
Listen, early
Not
on
hurting
in my,
anyone.
No, early on in my ministry, I mean, as a young kid, whippersnapper, whatever, but yeah, I've tried to raise people from the dead before, and it didn't work. But is that going to stop me? Get this. Have you ever prayed for the sick before they didn't get healed? Did that stop you? Well, I hope not. Did you ever prophesy and maybe some of it didn't exactly turn out right? Has that stopped you? I hope not. So why do we treat this area different than the others?
I think people are vulnerable. Like when they lose a loved one, they're really vulnerable. And I know a lot of people have prayed and prayed and prayed for the healing of their loved one.
That's right.
Believing for healing, and then they go on to be with the Lord.
Yeah.
And so they're already very vulnerable.
That's true.
They've put all their faith out. So the next step, well, let's believe for the resurrection. And when that doesn't happen, sometimes they're just crushed.
Yeah.
And I understand that. But you know what?
I understand that too.
Something happens in the spirit when you believe God. You see, North America in particular and other Western nations are plagued with unbelief. It's like a brassed over canopy of unbelief. We have to break through that.
We do.
And so we can put our faith out and we believe, nothing happens. And sometimes it's because we haven't created the critical mass yet for the bigger release. But the more we believe right to the end, like those faithful saints who believe for their loved ones right to the end, and then even beyond for resurrection, I have to commend them, because it's releasing something in the spirit that's breaking something open, just like the Berlin Wall.
That's right.
We prayed and we prayed and we prayed for the walls of communism to come down.
That's right.
And as we were praying, many were being martyred and killed as we were praying, and yet the day came when the wall came down overnight.
That's right. I had a situation in doing ministry in Haiti some years ago where there was this grandmother who was 79 years old. She had lost her sight when she was like a little bitty child. But her granddaughter, she had married and had kids, and then her granddaughter brings her to these meetings that we were doing out in the open air. But she came, and the grandma would stand there, get prayed for, fall down into the dirt. I'm talking about being overwhelmed by the Holy Spirit, come up, and she'd still be blind. Next night, it would be for deliverance. She'd get in line, fall down under the power of the presence, get back up, still could be blind as a bat. This went on 5 nights in a row. Whatever the altar call was, she came up, and the granddaughter, moved by compassion, is the one who brought the grandmother up. The 5th night, she gets prayed for. You're not quite sure. Do you want to keep looking, watching, or not? And next thing I know, she's up on our flatbed truck, got her hands raised, and she says in Creole, in the Haitian language, she says, "Béni soit l'Éternel," which means praise the Lord, because her eyes had been totally opened. Well, here was the issue. We're praying later about, well, why did she get healed the 5th time and it didn't happen the 1st?
Right.
And the picture that was shown was like an octopus was sitting on top of her head with tentacles coming down. And then every prayer lifted a tentacle off of her, to where it was the 5th prayer that loosed the last tentacle of demonic stronghold, and she saw.
I think there's many reasons why we don't see healings or miracles, and that when we're believing for them. And a lot of reasons maybe we haven't even discovered yet. But the main thing is, no matter what, that we keep the faith and keep moving forward.
That's it.
And with this revival of the raising of the dead, I've just got to see it. That's what happened in Jesus' day. When he was raised from the dead, it says in Matthew that a whole bunch of saints were raised at the same time and walked the streets of Jerusalem.
I don't want to just read about it. Some of the other shows we talked about, you read the Word. No, just don't read it. Pray the Word. Ask for every miracle in this book to happen in your lifetime, and you get to see it, and you get to be a part of it. So let's believe for resurrection of the dead to happen, for invading whole cities. Why not?
And you know what? I know this might sound silly to some, but this is honestly the truth. Is I've been practicing raising the dead on my dead plants.
Cool.
Because
that's awesome.
If you can practice and get a vision for it, it helps. And my plants are coming to life. They're actually coming to life. I killed them because I didn't water them. But then God has mercy, right?
That's right.
So I bring them to life. But,
that's great.
We need to practice, don't we?
Absolutely.
We need to put our faith out there on something because it's going to happen, just like it says in the Bible. And why don't you get your faith stirred up right now? Get stirred up big time. Why? Because God is